Thank you. Thank you so much, Denise. That was awesome. It is really surprising how difficult it is to breathe when we actually really focus on it and think about it. And I hear that a lot from people who have really significant trauma, that they just don't know how to, I can't take a deep breath. It takes practice. So I appreciate the tools that we just learned there. So I'm going to give you one more piece of my journey that's actually a much more recent piece, but it's really important to the next tool that I can offer you when it comes to dealing with gun violence. So in the fall, I was actually feeling really burned out and out of touch with my activism. And honestly, I was having a hard time caring about it. It turns out I went to church and my pastor happened to mention that she was having the same problem. And I was shocked because I was like, wait a minute, you're like the happiest person I know. And I live in New Jersey, so that's not the pastor we have sitting with us today. This is Pastor New Jersey. And she decided to share that she found a lot of good info in a book called The Book of Joy. And it's a conversation between the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. So I decided to read it and see what secrets there might be in there for me about finding joy. As humans, we're seeking happiness. We want to be happy. We want to be joyful. We want to feel contentment. And it's really hard to find that when we're constantly interrupted by everyday life and everyday stressors, and then the big stressors, and then, oh yeah, we had a pandemic. So it becomes really difficult to keep seeking and going after that. Like, life is always going to keep happening. Stress is always going to be there. So how do we stay happy and joyful? And, you know, it was a great book. And really what I'll tell you, the moral of the story, I hope you'll go read it, but I'll tell you the moral of the story, that what I got out of the book was that true happiness comes from serving others. And doing things to ease someone else's suffering or bring joy to their life is what truly brings your own inner joy. And it's as simple as that. And I thought about it, I was like, gosh, I think that's actually really true. So when you're feeling despair and overwhelm about what's happening in the world, the antidote to despair is action. Take an action to help someone else. I started by joining the knitting group at church, and that was a skill I already had. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a little self-care. I like to knit, and I'm going to build some connections, and I'm going to do something good for someone else, because we make prayer shawls for people who are going through a difficult time. You can start with something really simple, but once you get through that and you're still bothered by gun violence, here's what you can do about gun violence. When it comes to being active and being in service to others, by getting involved to prevent gun violence, the prevention efforts that you can take are a great step to take. Coming here today is your first step. You've already done something. Congratulations. Taking an action can sometimes feel really daunting and difficult, but it can be really simple. As simple as supporting others who are taking an action. My mom, who did so much work to put this together today, along with her team, thank you, Mom, is not a gun violence prevention activist per se. She has not been working in this the way that I have been. But her support of me, every step of the way as I decided to do this, has been a tremendous help and benefit in my life. And in that, she is preventing gun violence. And there are a lot of organizations that do this work, but I'm going to tell you about Every Town for Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action, because that's what I know and that's who best supports me. And Every Town for Gun Safety has several branches. Moms Demand Action is under Every Town. There's the Every Town Survivor Network, and there's Students Demand Action. And they all work together to do all kinds of actions. Moms Demand Action is 10 million volunteers across the country. It was started by a woman named Shannon Watts after the Sandy Hook school shooting happened. She started a Facebook page because she was distraught and she figured other moms might be feeling the same way. And in a matter of days, it was tens of thousands of people. at some point it merged with Everytown, which was an organization that was already existing, but Moms Demand Action became sort of the grassroots branch of Everytown. And everyone is welcome. It's not just for moms. That's confusing sometimes to people. Men also often ask, like, can I join? Yes, you can join. Please join. And we welcome gun owners because we need more of their voices. Safety-oriented gun owners, please take a look, consider it. We advocate for common sense gun safety legislation. An example of what that means is universal background checks. A lot of people don't actually know that that's not actually a thing. People assume that when people go out to buy guns, they have to pass a background check. That is not the case across the country in every case. Only licensed gun dealers, which means that only licensed gun dealers are required to do background checks. Online sales, gun show sales, private sales are not required to have background checks. Depending on the state that you live in, that might be different. Some states do require that, and that's one of the things we're advocating for because that just seems like common sense. So that's the type of thing that we do. How do we do that? Social media campaigns. We write letters to the editor. We speak with our legislators. We host events and rallies. And we're always looking for people who are motivated and have good skills, who are interested in getting involved. And there are so many different things that you can contribute to this without having to talk on a stage or without having to be on social media all the time. You can be in that supportive role. If that is something that is interesting to you, I'm going to give you a number that you can text, but there will also be information in reference to Moms Demand Action website, the Everytown website. You can visit that later. But if you would like to pull out your phone and text this number, I will tell you what to text. Give you a second to get your phone. Because actually, there is not a lot of Moms Demand Action around here, and I'm kind of surprised by that because I think they would do quite well. So the number is 64433, and you want to type the word honor, and that will tell them that you heard someone like me speak today, and that was something that made you say, I'd like to get more information about getting involved. So we honor with action, that's what we say. So if you text honor, the number again is 64433. That is one thing that you can do. And like I said before, getting involved and, once you've taken care of yourself and if you've attended to your own needs, going out and feeling like a part of the solution instead of sitting helpless and frustrated when you see this coming up in the news is tremendously helpful. I guarantee it. No organization is perfect. It can be a chaotic business sometimes, but look at what we're doing. Like Hami said, I get to go to the White House on Monday because we've pushed the needle really far and we're getting a really good piece of forward motion that we haven't seen in over 20 years. So this is an exciting time where we're finally starting to have some conversations that are happening across the board. Also, Moms Demand Action, by the way, nonpartisan organization. We'll take anybody who's interested in gun safety. So there's one last tool that I want to leave you with. And this is an education program that Moms Demand Action generated. And it's called the Be Smart program. And SMART is, I hope there are no English teachers here today. Acronym, I think is the right word for this, right? SMART is a thank you. You stand up here long enough, you forget what's happening. So Be Smart is this program that we have. So I'm going to walk through this quickly. Normally it would be a big slideshow presentation and there would be lots more detail, but to give you the basics. And when I'm done with that, at the table at the front here, there is a handout about this. So if you want to share this information with other people, if you want to learn more about it in more detail, there are handouts that you can come and take with you. So, in the United States, firearms are the leading cause of death for children. It used to be the second leading cause, now it is the first. This is a real problem. When children in America are killed with guns, the majority of those deaths, 53%, are homicides. That's nearly 900 children per year. Another 700 die by firearm suicide each year, and 90 are unintentionally shot and killed. We say unintentional and not accidental because it's not an accident. Gun violence is preventable. It is unintentional. Children need to be protected from getting their hands on guns. We know that about 5.4 million children in the US live in a household with at least one unloaded, unlocked gun. And this number has likely increased in the surge in gun sales during the COVID-19 pandemic. When school shootings and mass shootings typically make national headlines, the reality is that for children under the age of 13, gun homicides most frequently occur in the home. And one study showed that nearly 90% of unintentional shooting deaths and injuries among children under the age of 15 occur in the home. Even further, we know the incidence of gunfire on school grounds, up to 80% of shooters under the age of 18 obtained the guns they used from their home or their homes of friends and relatives. So when we're thinking about school shootings, which I know is a really difficult topic, a lot of times those guns are found in the home that they lived in or from someone a friend or relative. So this is an emotional issue. It's really hard, I get that. But stick with it and hear what we have to say about what we can do about this. We believe that most gun owners want to be responsible gun owners. So I'm going to talk about what all of us, gun owners, non-gun owners, everyone can do to make sure children don't have unsupervised access to guns. Common ground. 1, we all want kids to grow up happy and healthy. 2, we have the right to make responsible decisions about how to protect our homes, families, and communities, including whether or not to have a gun in the home. That's your choice. 3, if we can prevent even one child gun death or injury, it is a responsibility to do so. So I'm not going to talk about laws or policies here, totally setting that aside. This is strictly safety information. It's important to remember that even if you are practicing secure storage, or if you don't have a gun in your home, you can't be sure about other people's homes. You cannot be sure about how responsible other people are being, and that's where the Be Smart program becomes helpful.